You know, it's really easy for me or anyone else on the internet to tell you to go buy some fruit trees, start a garden, but the reality is those things are kind of expensive. So in this video, I'm going to share with you my best money-saving tips for starting a fruit garden. There are a lot of ways you can save money in the garden. I mean, we're talking making your own compost, collecting rainwater, using things that you have lying around. And I have a feeling I'm gonna go into some of those things in future videos. But for this video, I wanna focus on things that have little to no upfront cost, because even building a place to put compost or setting up a rain barrel can cost a lot right at the beginning. But these are gonna be easy tips that'll help you get started at growing your own fruit. So tip number one is to look for bare root trees. Bare root trees are simply trees that are dormant when you buy them, and so they can be sold with no soil. Basically, you get a stick with some roots and then you plant that, and then come spring it wakes up. So it's a great option because A, they're cheaper, because nurseries can store them in bulk really easily. They're cheaper to ship, so it's a really cost-effective way, especially if you want to buy several trees. They also just tend to do better. When trees are dormant, they're already in self-protection mode. So when you plant them in the ground, they have a better chance of not getting transplant shock or not running into problems. And then they're just naturally waking up in their new home as spring comes and the weather warms up. I've planted a bare root tree right next to one that grew in a pot that I got from a nursery. And guess which one made it? It was the bare root tree. It was thriving right from the very beginning. So it's a really surefire way to get started, especially if you don't have a ton of experience growing fruit trees. But one thing to know is that they're only going to be available in early spring. They're only available when the trees are dormant because they have to be shipped in that state. So you have a window of time, and it is right now. Right now it's March. I'm already fully in spring, but for a lot of the country, nothing has woken up yet, and this is the perfect time to go and buy some bare root trees. My next tip is to grow plants that will give you more plants. Now, a great example of that is strawberries. Now, think about it. At the store, you can get a pound of strawberries for what, if you're lucky, $4 or $5 a pound? And that's the non-organic ones. In organic, we're talking $7, $8, maybe $10 a pound. It's really expensive and it adds up. Well, look at this whole strawberry bed next to me. A little over a year ago, I planted 5 plants. 5 plants, and now this bed is almost entirely covered, and probably in just a few weeks it will be entirely covered with strawberry plants and blossoms and little baby berries starting to form. Now, I spent not very much money on those 5 plants, and if you buy bare root plants like we talked about a minute ago, you can get 25 plants for under $10. I mean, it's really inexpensive and super easy to grow. And the great thing about strawberries is that they just keep on giving. So once a strawberry plant fruits, it's going to start sending out runners, these kind of goofy little firework things. And those are whole new plants. It's like little baby plants off of the mother plant. And those root into the ground, and that's how the strawberry keeps spreading itself. So you can keep refreshing a whole strawberry bed. You can cut off those runners and replant them somewhere else entirely. My in-laws have planted strawberries around the entire perimeter of their house, just right around their home, and they have tons of strawberries every spring. So it really is one of the least expensive ways that you can grow fruit. In addition to strawberries, there's a lot of fruiting plants that propagate really easily. So for example, if you buy one blackberry bush, all you have to do is take one of its branches and stick it back into the ground, weigh it down, and it will root and form a whole other plant. The same thing is true with raspberries and other caning fruits like that. Another example is a lot of fruit trees are super easy to propagate. Fig trees. I just did it with pomegranate trees. If you take cuttings of any of these plants or or blackberries or whatever, you can take cuttings, basically stick them in the dirt, and they will root and start to grow. And before you know it, you have a whole new plant. And you can do that with most things, especially if they're not grafted. So I bought one fig tree and I have several baby fig trees coming from that one tree. Same thing with my blackberries, same thing with my pomegranates. And it's just a really easy way to make your money stretch. But what if I told you you didn't have to buy any plant to get started? This is probably my favorite money-saving tip, and that is simply to befriend someone who can give you cuttings. So ask your friends. You probably already know someone who's growing fruit and has some of these trees or plants that are easy to propagate and spread. You can, dig up a couple strawberry plants or cut off a couple runners or just take cuttings when they're doing their pruning in the winter. You probably know people who can give you these things for free. But you can take it even further. Look on Facebook. There are all kinds of gardening Facebook groups for your local area, and you might even have a plant sharing Facebook group that exists solely so that gardeners can pass on their plants to other people. Check your local library. There's all kinds of seed swaps and other plant sharing events that might be going on in your community. Or you can even check Craigslist. You might find someone who has dug up some of their blackberry bushes that are spreading and just left them on the side of the road for anyone to pick up. If you start digging, and pun intended, but you might be surprised what you can find for free around you. Because the reality is, plant people love to share plants with other people. So find yourself a plant person. Another way to save money growing fruit that you might not have thought of is simply to grow fruits that you know do well in your area or that are native to your area. It may seem obvious, but those are the things that are adapted to your soil and your climate and your disease and pest pressure. So they're gonna just handle those things better, which means less maintenance, less fussing, less work, less fertilizer, less supplemental irrigation, and all of those things add up to the cost of growing fruit at home. So grow the things that you see doing well around you, that are being farmed around you, because those are the things that are going to be more cost effective. For me and for others like me in the southeast United States, that's things like pawpaws. American persimmons are native throughout most of the country. I live somewhere with pretty acidic soil, so I can grow blueberries, and they do really well here. Take a look around, see what's native to your area, and grow those things. We all have favorite fruits, and I do grow some things that are not native to my area, but those always take more work and more effort and more expense. So stick with the things that you know are going to do well and are going to take minimal intervention from you. My next tip is to skip the fruit trees altogether and just grow fruit from seeds. Now, don't worry, I'm not going to tell you to go to the store and get an avocado or a lemon and pull out the seeds and stick them in a pot and poof, you'll have fruit. Because A, that's not typically how it works. B, it's finicky and not necessarily that easy to do. It's also just going to take forever. Even if everything goes well, it might be 8 to 10 years or more before you get any fruit at all. But also, more often than not, when you plant a seed directly from the fruit, especially a fruit from the grocery store, you're not going to get, if any fruit, you're not going to get the exact same type of fruit. So it's really just not worth the hassle. So when I talk about growing from seed, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about growing annual fruits that you can grow just like you grow in your vegetable garden. Of course, there's things we all know like tomatoes and peppers and cucumbers. Those are all technically fruits. But what I'm talking about is things like melons, watermelons, muskmelons. There are so many cool varieties of melons that you can grow in any space, especially if you grow them vertically, because they don't take up near as much space as they do if you just let them sprawl on the ground. But they're actually really easy to grow. I've tried several myself, and I'm always so thrilled to see how quickly you can go from a cheap packet of seeds to big, beautiful, juicy, sweet melons. But there are some other unconventional options too. One that I'm trying this year for the first time, hang on. Right here, this is a ground cherry, and it's it's a nightshade, just like a tomato or a pepper, and it's related to kind of like a tomatillo, so it has this husk on it. I'm really excited to give it a go this year. I haven't tried it before, but I planted this from seed just a few weeks ago, and it's gonna grow big and vining like a tomato plant, so I'm gonna stake it up and see what happens. There's some other really interesting varieties that you can try to grow from seed, and when you're looking to save money, that really is one of the best things that you can do. The point I'm really trying to drive home in this video is don't let cost deter you from trying to grow fruit at home. It is completely worth it. The rewards are huge, and if you keep that initial investment down, then you're gonna find that you get your money's worth out of your efforts and out of your little fruit garden, no matter what size it is or how many plants you have. Even just one fruit tree will bring you so much joy. So get creative, volunteer for local gardening organizations. I just joined my Master Gardener Association, and there is nothing gardeners love more than to share plants with each other. So that's a great way to get connected with your local gardening community, to share and swap and learn from each other. Highly recommend that. There are so many other ways that you can not fall into the trap of buying more things and spending a ton of money on gardening, and I can guarantee you I will be doing more videos on some of these other money-saving topics in the future, especially around growing fruit. But in the meantime, I really hope these tips are helpful. Let me know if you have any to share in the comments or if you've tried any of these, and thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.